Okay, so today we're going to talk about square root transformations. So we're going to talk about that today, and we like that because it's easy. Everybody's happy about this. We like transformations. We can do that with our eyes closed. So tomorrow, everybody knows where you're going to get tested, right? Everybody's aware of where you're going to be. And then you'll come back on Wednesday for a review, and then Thursday we'll test. All right? Okay, so first of all, we have a horizontal transfer. So the parent function for a square root is this. Y equals the square root of x. And if I was going to graph the parent function, it would start at 0, 0. And then what's the square root of 1? 1. So do I know the square root of 2? No. The square root of 3? No. But the square root of 4 is 2. And then 9 is 3. So this is our parent function. So if you look at this, this is actually a parabola that laid down. All right? And why doesn't it have the bottom of the parabola? When we talk about the square root, why does the bottom get left off? Because you can't take the square root of a negative number, right? So if you can't take the square root of a negative number, we leave this part of the graph off, and you only get the top of the parabola. And that's the inverse of x squared. So the inverse of x squared is the square root, and this is the parent function. And just like when we did, when we moved our parabolas back and forth, we can move the square root back and forth also. And so we're going to move the 0, 0 point. All right? So minus h, which way am I really moving? To the right, because our x's lie. That's why there are x's. So the plus h moves to the left. And that's a horizontal transformation. A vertical translation is going to move up and down, and it's outside of the square root. And that moves a positive x and a negative x. So this one I know it's horizontal because it's under the square root. This one's outside, so that's up and down. Okay? Somebody shake their head yes. Thank you. Okay. So, first of all, the parent function is the square root of x. So here is there's my vertex right there. So how many did it move in this direction? So it moved 5 to the left. 3? Do you need to count out loud with all your fingers? No, you're good? Okay. So we moved 5 to the left, right? So what does that look like underneath the square root if it's moving to the left? So I'm going to get x plus 5, and then how many did I move down? So minus 4. Now it's asking for the domain and range. And the domain and range are going to come from right here. This is h and k, and that's right here, h and k. So my domain is left to right. So the domain here is -5 to infinity. And the range is bottom to top. So it's -4 to infinity. Okay, so you write the next one. Where's the vertex? Fill it in. Fill in the domain and range also. So check yourself and see if you got the right answer. And if yours is blank, I'm going to punch you. All right, it's too early in the week to punch. No punching today. All right, so what's different, y'all, what's different with this graph from the last one I just did? It's different, right? So this one, okay, this is what it should look like. So this graph is upside down. What about this one? What happened with this one? It flipped, okay? So if it's upside down, this is a reflection over the x-axis, and the minus is outside the square root. If it flipped the other way, the minus goes inside. You're not listening. You are not listening. And now, oh my gosh, I should have been listening. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Better not be a smarty pants. I will call your dad right now, and he likes me more than you. I will. All right. So this one is upside down, right? Okay. So I'm going to put a negative on the outside. I know. So, but what does change this time? The domain and range have to change. So if I go left to right, that doesn't change. So I get -4 to infinity. But from bottom to top this time, the bottom is -infinity and the top is 5. Bottom to top. And at the bottom, this is the arrow, and that's your -infinity. So this one flipped backwards, so the negative's on the outside. And this one, so the negative goes on the inside. Okay. I'm going to punch you, Holly. Okay, so this one, so this is your H and K right here. So when you write this one, you have to write it like this. I'm going to put the negative here, and then I have to put parentheses. And if you don't put parentheses, you end up, it's going to be wrong. So make sure you put parentheses there, okay? The domain, very good. And then bottom to top is 3 to infinity. Okay, everybody okay? I think there's just one more left. Yes, this one. Okay. Okay. So pay attention and listen, please. So to find the vertical stretch or compression. So vertical stretch or compression, this is the A, and that's out in front, right? And so the A works like slope, except when it's a curve, it can't be rise over run because it's a curve. So this is how the A is going to work. The A is going to be the change in Y over, so what is slope? It's the change in Y over the change of X, right? But what function am I doing? What's the parent function this time? It's the square root. So we have to take the square root on bottom. So what does this one tell me? It tells me that it's 3, right? And so that would mean that my change in Y is 3 over the change of X would be 1. So when I do this, I still get 0, 0. And what's my next point? Normally it's 1, 1. But now where will it go? 3, 1. Do we see? Because if I count up 3 and over 1, the square root of 1 is 1. So this is 3. Okay? So now, listen carefully for the next one, though. So A is 1/2. But this 1/2 equals the change in y over the change in x, and it's the square root. So if it's going to be a half, the change in y is what? How many do I go up? 1, right? But what do I have? How many do I go over to get a 2? What is the square root? It's 4. 4. Oh my gosh. You're going to have to use all your fingers this time. So watch. So if I go up 1, I have to take the square root of the number to get 2. So the square root of 4 is 2. So I'm going to go up 1. Okay, so first of all, is this one facing the right way? So there's no negatives, right? It's facing the right way. Next, find your vertex. Here's the vertex. So it's -5, 0. So that's your H and your K. There's no negative, so now I have to find the A value. So my A is going to be the change in y over the change of x, and then take the square root. So from this point to your next exact point. On yours, is it right there? Okay. So how many did I go up? 1. How many did I go over? 9. What's the square root of 9? So my A value is 1/3. And that goes in front, the square root of x plus 5. And then do I have to put the plus 0 at the end? I don't. So what's the domain this time? Yes, ma'am. And? Yep. Okay, B. Is this faced the correct way? It's faced the correct way, so there's no negatives. So next, find your vertex, which is right here. Is it -6? Okay. So next I have to find the A value. So I think my next point is right here. Is that right? Right here? Do you think it matters? So if we pick this one, how many do I go up? How many do I go over? The square root of 1 is, so my A value is 2, right? So what would have happened if I picked this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. I went up 4 and over. I have 4 over the square root of 4, right? What's the square root of 4? 4 divided by 2 is? So it doesn't matter which one you pick. You get the same answer no matter which you pick. Okay? So my A value is 2. that the last example?